everybody. It's great to be here. Back in the real world, post-pandemic, very exciting. So as we've heard through this show, the pandemic showed us how consumers, citizens of the world, have evolved, leveraging technology to keep us sane in a connected, disconnected, but connected world behind screens and masks. When one really thinks about innovation, when technology becomes revolutionary, then our customer experience becomes redefined, disrupted. COVID in itself was revolutionary. It disrupted our entire world, right? We were all completely turned upside down. But how we adjusted to COVID was evolutionary. Innovation is often not revolutionary. It's incremental. We learn from previous successes and failures, making tweaks along the way. And this journey never ends. Humor me if you will, and let's look at an adjacent industry. Many see a classic car, a roadster that certainly looks fun to drive. However, there's no power steering, no emission controls, no GPS, maybe no air conditioning, and definitely no Bluetooth or USB charger. Maybe not as fun to drive, right? You see, those features were incrementally added to automobiles over time. They were evolutionary as technical advances improved the customer experience that we now expect when we sit in an automobile. Does anybody go, wow, this car has a backup camera now, right? That's not revolutionary. The automobile in of itself simply solved the problem of delivering a human being from point A to point B with greater efficiency. These advancements just made the journey smoother, safer, cleaner. Today we have electric cars. But did you know the first electric cars made their appearance in the late 1800s? And yes, this car might be faster and have Bluetooth and perhaps even drive itself. But if you get caught in a traffic jam, you're still stuck. Industries adopt new technologies to deliver better, faster, cheaper solutions, which come from innovators. It's no difference with payments. So let's look at 4 problem statements and how through evolution we're now solving them. The first is access, right? The first problem statement is that consumers want instantaneous access to their cash, to their money. They want to be able to manage their finances. In the cash economy, and if I needed funds immediately and I was in between paychecks, where did I turn to? I had to go to a payday loans. Otherwise, I'm waiting for my check to come, right? And I'm waiting for those funds to clear. And eventually when I had those funds, and say I went to dinner with a friend, and I had cash, and I need to split the bill, I had to go to the cashier to get change, right? Not the best experience. And at the same time, we're living in a world where everything else is on demand, right? Uber, TV, packages showing up at my door. But no one was delivering cash to my door, not that I wanted cash in the time of COVID. But new technology and players brought us push payments, early direct deposit, peer-to-peer payments. Consumers can now access their funds in real time with just a few clicks. Services now advance our paycheck, breaking those 2-week cadence of waiting for my paycheck to come, right? So we've just disrupted that experience. I can get advances on my tax refunds. I can get insurance settlements in advance, which is actually really critical, right? With all the increase in natural disasters, I can get an insurance company to push funds to a Discover debit card, and now I can go get a hotel for this evening. I can get a meal. In fact, just this year we launched Discover Deliver, which is our new push payments platform. And this allows us to push funds to and from Discover Debit and Discover prepaid cards. Even funds payouts in casinos have changed. And that's called winnings if you're so lucky. I remember many years ago, I won $1,000 on a slot machine. I know, not a lot of money, but it was all in quarters, right? And this was back in the day where there was all those casino cups. And maybe you remember going to casinos and collecting those cups. So anyway, I'm sitting at the slot machine and it's paying out all these quarters, clink, 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 clink. People are all coming around me. And here I am, I'm trying to fill all these casino cups with 4,000 quarters. You know how much 4,000 quarters weigh? And then I have to carry them all the way across the floor to the casino cage. Now you just get a ticket, right? And that ticket has a QR code or a barcode, and someone hands me my cash. So when I have my money, right, now I want control. And the problem before is consumers didn't actually have a lot of place to control where they could put their money, maybe where they could invest their money. And we've seen the evolution with really software and apps really come into the space just in the past 2 years. It allows us to buy stock, it allows us to buy crypto, and many of these apps really through good design thinking and even gamification, now we're buying stocks almost with some of those just gamification experiences. And I can even buy incremental shares, so I can buy Tesla and I can buy Amazon. Also, with control and faster access to our money, we also want to be able to purchase more goods. Does anybody remember Layaway? Anybody? This is what I would call an early form of installment payments, right? I would be able to take, say, a vacuum cleaner that I wanted to purchase, and I could go back to the Layaway counter. And I'm not old enough to ever use Layaway, but I remember it being in sort of the back of stores. And I could take this tag, and then I could say, hey, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make this installment on this date, usually with cash or with a check, and make that payment, right? I controlled when I wanted to make those installments in those terms. So how has Layaway evolved today? Anybody? Buy now, pay later, right? So this is a hot space, right? First of all, I get to take that vacuum home instantly now, right? So, because we live in this instant gratification world. But there's all these players that are now helping make those installment payments, right? Merchants offer the installment payments. There's fintechs in this space. Issuers are in this space as well. It could be a little overwhelming, but this means there's more choice for consumers, right? And the problem in the past, there was less choice. I could either buy in store, bring the goods home, could shop online, have those goods delivered, and obviously those delivery windows gotten shorter and shorter. But consumers want more choice around their payment experience. If I'm shopping in store, I'm carrying a fat wallet. Some stores only took cash, and that's obviously changed. And even when I shop online, right, the experience of continuing to have to enter my same information, shipping address, credentials, still, an experience with a lot of friction. But that's all changed, especially in the past couple years, right? Now we have device wallets, we have cloud wallets such as SRC, and technology and software have enabled these new experiences, so we have consumer preference and consumer choice. So we can buy online and we can pick up in store. If I told you 2 years ago Target would have a drive-through, you'd look at me and look like I was crazy. But really, all the retailers now offer this experience, right? And we're not going back. In this post-pandemic world, as we've gravitated to the payment choice that we want, if we want same-day delivery, if we want to go to the store, how we want food, etc., this is the world that we live in today. So I think where we need to work most also is now trust. And the pain point for consumers here is with trust, is that we've all been witness to data breaches. We've probably all had our personal data stolen. And some of us even have had our identities stolen. And us as an industry has to do a better job of communicating to consumers how we are protecting them, right? In the past, identity verification was rather simple. It was an ID and a signature. Signature being what I'd call a primitive form of biometric. And I venture to guess that many of us, all the credit cards in our wallet, we don't even sign anymore, right? But today we now have biometrics. Our face, our fingerprint, our pulse. This is protecting our digital identity. There's been a lot of booths obviously talking about digital identity at this show, so it was really interesting to see. So as we protect our digital identity, we also need to protect our credentials. And that's where tokenization comes in. So when we store our digital wallet, we now are tokenizing our credentials, but we should also be tokenizing our personal data, which will then protect from data breaches in the future. And then the way we access our digital identity and our digital credentials is through multi-factor authentication. So Discover's made some significant investments in click-to-pay SRC as really a step in this next direction. Because ultimately what we want to get to from a payment experience is sort of a one-click frictionless checkout that consumers feel safe and secure. At Discover, we know that innovation relies on partnerships. And our ultimate goal is to create the best payment experience for all of our global cards. Ultimately, we want to be able to provide access, control, choice, and trust. And we look to all of you here. The opportunities are growing geometrically, and fintechs help bring fresh perspectives to long-standing consumer problems. Thank you very much. Let's continue to evolve together.